Alrighty, here we go. I'm gonna do a best 3 out of 5 with my World War II factions. 2 of them, anyway. Okay. So, the way I set this up. Actually, wait. So, for this one, it's just gonna be the Americans and the Germans. Then we'll do like the Japanese and Russians, and then we'll call it a day. And then the next episode we're gonna have all 4 at once, and you'll see it. I had a lot of different ideas. Well, I had a lot of different promises that I would put in my next tabs video. There was balancing the World War II factions, balancing the fire and lightning, and then balancing the light versus dark. I decided on World War II. First off, I made it its own faction. Hold on, I can hear the Overwatch thing in the background. Oh my god. I absolutely hate that it plays the noise in the background. Unlike tabs, it mutes itself when it becomes the background. Overwatch does not, and it's so stupid. Because you know why tabs does it? You know why? Tabs has the setting mute in background. Look at that. Look at that. Quality of life. Quality of life. So anyway, I decided to get rid of the boss unit entirely for these guys, and instead what you see is an elite unit, which is basically one of their 6 units, but buffed. It's not the same for everything, but it's not necessarily different for everything. Okay. So, for instance, the American elite unit, it has a freaking it's like an assault. I believe it's the M14 semi-automatic rifle. And it's basically a better version of the Grand. So that's their elite unit. It's a better version of one of the units they already have. So the American special unit is a better version of their marksman unit. The German special unit is a improved version of their infantry. Special units have 600 health. I mean, elite units rather. Elite units have 600 health. I kept saying special. They're basically the same, almost, except special units are unique, elite units are just upgrades. So, the German elite unit is an upgrade to their infantry, and they obviously have higher health, 100 more health at 600 compared to 500, and they have gas grenades. I also buffed their damage. And then you got everything else. And so here I have a formation in the city, which is my favorite place to pit my World War II factions up against each other. So, on each side of this little divider here, we got 5 shotgunners who are just gonna instantly blast each other, 5 infantry leaning up against the wall, 1 heavy gunner, 2 elite units, 3 special units, 1 officer, and 4 marksmen on each side for each faction. And so what's going to end up happening is one side will go at one side, and whichever side wins, the remaining units will come through this gap and help the other side mop up. So, you can see the cost right here. The Germans cost more, but with my factions, the cost doesn't really mean you'll win. I mean, it mostly does, but not always. Alright, here we go. Going in slow-mo here. Zooming in, we already have several people on both sides who are dead. Specifically the shotgunners. The heavy gunner for the Germans, MG42, is opening up this huge damage buff. Sorry. This stupid fly me pissing me off. So I left my finger, so I missed, of course. The MG42 with his damage buff will be even more powerful now. The while, looks like the Germans have the initiative. That's a shotgun. Although all of the infantry on this side is alive. Meanwhile, more people are coming up, and a lot of the Americans are dead. Their heavy gunner's gone. It looks like one of their marksmen died. Their special units are alive, but it looks like one of their elite units have also died. The other side, I'm going to call this the left side, because that's how it's looking right now. So whenever I say right or left, referring to a side, I'm talking from the perspective of the Americans. So on the left side, the American left, or I could just say that, the Americans on the left are starting to walk into the gas grenade so they can start slowly dying. The Germans on the left are doing just fine, they're chilling. The machine guns ready and waiting, and the flamethrower and gas grenades are just suppressing everyone. The marksmen just shooting into the smoke, dealing basically chip damage. On the right side, the infantry is actually still alive, for the most part, for both sides. Although the German infantry is coming out on top. There are huge plumes of gas, so it's hard to see units. You can see their life bars, however. The remaining American forces on the right are pushing forward. You got... I honestly don't know what he is. He's a special. That's a special. That's an officer. That's an elite unit. And 3 marksmen. The last of the infantry are getting slaughtered over here. The German infantry coming out with, looks like 4 out of the 5 original men. And all of their marksmen are alive. Their heavy gunner and 1 elite unit are still kicking. Meanwhile over here, which is like pure gas, I can't even. Alright, so all the Americans are behind the gas, and you got an elite and a marksman. An elite and a couple of marksmen. I don't know what this guy is. He is a elite. So it's just their elite and their marksmen going up against the German marksmen, 1 elite, and the machine gunner. The machine gunner, though, is easily pick-offable because, as I explained in the last episode, the MG42 gives whatever unit that holds it this odd quality where they lie down and wait for the enemy to come to them. But the American Grand, the M1 Grand, the Grand, and the M14 have long range to where they can shoot the MG without walking into its range. So basically, the MG physically cannot shoot a marksman or, in the Americans' case, an elite. So, right now, it's up to the German marksmen and the remaining gas plumes here. They got 1 guy left over here. You can see his health bar. He's 1 shot away. So I suspect he's going to die very soon. The gas plume should also start going away soon. This German heavy gunner on this side is dead. And so what we have is... it looks like the Americans are pretty even on the right, and on the left it is pretty German dominant. So we got 4 marksmen on the left for the Germans, and 3 on the right. And for the Americans, we got 3 marksmen and an elite on the right, and 1 elite who just died on the left. So the American left has been completely defeated. The German right is also being soundly defeated right now with this incoming salvo. This 1 guy won't be able to do that much if he even lives to shoot his gun, which I don't think he will. He doesn't shoot his gun ever again. So basically they have an entire squad of German marksmen and a heavy gunner to serve as bait to distract the Americans. So it's basically a 4-on-4. The only thing the heavy gunner serves is to body block and soak bullets, which he's very good at since he has so much health. So it's coming down to the wire here. We'll let them walk forward. Again, the gas should start to go away pretty soon. Yeah, it's clearing up on the left side, and again, whenever I say a side, I'm referring to the Americans. So whenever I say left or right, I'm referring to it from this perspective. The first shots are ringing out, the first dangerous salvo, and this machine gunner might actually be lucky enough to start shooting. I don't know if he's that close, but he better be, because one of the German marksmen just died. So, since this is so close quarters, the Americans are probably going to end up winning because they have automatic fire. The German is rounding the corner, and he does get a small burst off, and it looks like he kills one guy, but it was not enough. The Americans take round 1. So, as you can see, it looks pretty balanced since the Germans won the left and the Americans won the right, and the American right just managed to beat the German left. Alright, so the Americans take round 1. Round 2 starting off, and once again, mainly American shotgunners are just instantly dying. They stand no chance. Probably because I put the MG close enough to shoot them, so they just don't stand a chance. Because, fun fact, you can actually change the type of bullet the gun shoots. So before it shot AK-47 bullets, that's what the game said. I changed it to where it now shoots AWP bullets, sniper bullets, and that basically just led to it hitting. That basically just gave it 8 direct damage. A pretty huge bullet. So, yeah, this thing does extreme damage. Anyway, the American front line, or the American shotgunners, are getting slaughtered on both sides. The American heavy gunner, who has a machine gun, is rattling off. Although his aim is rather high, so it doesn't look like he's going to hit anything. German versus American infantry on the left. It looks like it's going to the Germans as an American drops dead, and the remaining Americans are covered in gas and fire at the same time, which are going to be devastating. The American heavy gunner blasts the flamethrowers, but I gave them the ranged ability to give them some longevity. I also increased their weight so that they would take less knockback, so that they could, I basically made it so that they'd have a chance to get closer to the enemy and actually do something. So, alright, so once again we have gas grenades on both sides from the German units. Meanwhile, the Americans are looking worse for wear. It looks like the heavy gunner is a couple seconds from death. He'll probably burn to death. And there he goes. He succumbs to the flames. And he just falls. Drops his gun. I don't know. I just love looking at like the corpses and the way the units and tabs die. That might sound weird, but you know, just watching the whole fight in tabs is just so good. Like just seeing the way that the units ragdoll and limp to the ground, how they'll either go flying if they got killed by a high impact thing, or they'll just, or in the cases where they get shot by bullets, they'll just kind of fall over. Like this guy, who burned to death, and he just stops, drops his gun, just falls over. You can see his body find a natural resting position in his spinal. It just looks nice. So, anyway, back to the actual fight. The Germans on the right are dominating, and the left is already dead. Seems like the American left is not doing too good. The American right did okay. No. They did not pull it through on this one. Pretty dominant German victory here. They got an elite unit. They got an elite still left from the left. All their marksmen and their machine gunner. And from the right, you have just the marksman and the machine gunner. Seems like they managed to kill all the infantry that was moving forward. Yeah, you can see their bodies here. Wait, that's an infantryman. That's definitely an infantryman. That's a shotgunner. But you get the point. You get the point. So the last of the Americans are dead somewhere in this huge purple poison cloud. So the Germans take round So now it's 1-1. Alright. Once again, mainly American shotgunners going down, probably from the first salvo of that MG42 for the Germans on each side, although the Germans although on the left it seems like the Germans do take some losses. Again, I'm assuming they're shotgunners, because they're the closest and therefore they just take damage and just die on this. They're kind of useless. Shotgunners don't do that much in this game. Meanwhile, all the way back here, one of the German marksmen tripped and fell on his face. It might take him a while to get back up, which could impact the battle in some way, but we'll see. Probably not. Probably make that much of a difference. Again, it looks like the infantry for the Americans is just getting slaughtered out here, fighting their German counterparts. The American heavy gunners should just about be coming into range, and I expect him to start rattling off. It looks like he's pointing at the German infantry, so that could be very devastating. The German infantry taking a lot of heat from the rest of the American units right now. There he goes. There goes the minigun, or machine gun for the Americans, but he aims a bit high. The elite and special units, which are basically just both assault rifles and the ranges, the BAR and the M14, they're gunning down the German infantry, and so the German infantry starts dying in droves. Meanwhile, the last American infantry, I'm assuming he's burning to death. I'm assuming he burned to death. That's on the left side. On the right side, going to the gas. Going to all the gas grenades and stuff like that. Looks a bit more even. The flamethrowers are pressing forward. They're in enraged state, however. We have a dead American here. I don't know what he is. He's probably just a shotgunner, but he might be something a bit larger. Meanwhile, the flames are starting to lick the special and elite units, and they might even get close enough to hit one marksman as well. I don't know where the flamethrower is. He's in the smoke. I'm assuming he's enraged and probably close to death. At any rate, this is a pretty good flick of flame right here, and this will definitely do damage to all of these guys. It's very valuable. It might not necessarily kill them, but who knows, it just might. A lot of them are catching on fire. We did get a good enough salvo to do that. This is a German infantryman who somehow survived the firing squad, and he walks a bit too far forward and gets shot again. Meanwhile, on the American right, again, it looks pretty even. The German elite units throw their next salvo of gas grenades towards the Americans. The American infantry is starting to die off right now, and it looks like the Germans are pulling away with this one as well. Although, I take that back. Oh, is that the MG? I believe that was the MG rattling off a couple of bullets there. Yes, he is firing. Who dies mid-salvo. Although he does get a kill on some poor American before he goes. And this one looks a lot more even. It looks like the left. It looks like the Americans are just winning it handily. I'll have to say that. So let's go in normal speed as the Americans sweep up. If only they would walk through that gas pump, which they kind of do, but only for a little bit. And now it's the German marksmen. 3 German marksmen left versus just a smattering. Both elite units and the whole marksman corps, and 1 infantryman for good measure. As we look upon the American and German dead, oh snap! This one marksman has finally got up right as the last of his comrades got executed. Now he has his absolute firing squad just gunning towards him. He tripped, and now he's on the ground again, and this time he does not have the chance to get up. I had no idea that guy was on the floor for the entire match. That sucks for that guy. So, Americans take the lead 2-1. Let's see what happens. Let's see what the Germans can make it back. once again, American and German shotguns. His German shotgun. Shotgunners just dying instantly. A small pile of what looks like 3 American and 1 German corpse is piled up in a corner. Meanwhile, the infantry are going at it again, and it sounds like the Americans are coming out on top of this one. Gas grenades are coming down. The gas grenades are a little bit useless unless the enemy walks into them, because normally they don't reach out that far, but we'll see what happens. We'll see if they can get dangerous. I'm going to assume that's a shotgunner, because I don't think any of the flamethrowers would be dying just yet. For the Germans who just went down. Their flamethrowers are marching forward. They only got 3 of them. They got 3 on each side. Firing is going on. I'm running out of things to say. This is bad for commentary. The flamethrowers are starting to get raised on the right side. We'll see if they manage to push forward. I don't know if my camera works. So, you can see the shots coming in. The Americans just pushing forward on this one. The German flamethrowers are trying to use their range ability to throw bullets, but there's just too many bullets and there's just too much. We might see the German machine gunner coming to play. Meanwhile, on the left, they are basically doing the exact same thing. The last of the infantrymen dying for the Americans on the left side as he burns to a crisp, and he just keels over and just face plants into the ground. So beautiful. Oh my god, I'm sorry. That is just so awesome. Meanwhile, the American infantry on the right is also currently getting burned with a flamethrower, and so is one of the BAR units with the Americans special, and he dies to fire damage as well. He just crumples up, his knees buckle, and just kind of tips over. I don't know, I would say a metaphor, but I can't think of one on the top of my head. The thing that came to my head in that moment was cow tipping from the Cars movies. Or tractor tipping. The American side of the battlefield is covered in smoke and fire on the left side. It seems like the Germans have dominated. Oh my god. Another man burns to death. He just keels over, drops his gun, knees buckle, he just keels over. Bit of a face plant. Looks like this guy might also burn to death. Although he might live. Looks like he lived. So it looks like the Germans are dominating the left side for this one. Although I don't know anymore. It seems like all their flamethrowers are dead. They do have 1 elite unit, so they will get another gas grenade off of them. That hurt. Oh my god. Yeah, nah, this guy is gonna be taking a breather. Though he might have to take a permanent breather, because, never mind, he's not breathing anymore. Although there aren't that many Americans left, there's only 2, it looks like the Germans do have a chance of winning. Well, they're pretty much just down to their marksmen. The American right really doing the stuff. Although now they have to walk and stand in this gas field right now. So I don't know what's happening. The Americans in the gas field are obviously dying. So going into normal speed, the Americans on the left are dead. The Americans who were in the gas field on the right also died. Which leaves only 2 Americans left. A marksman and a special, and they die at the exact same time. Not from the same bullet, however. 2 different bullets, I believe. Looking at the tracer rounds, you can definitely tell. Alright, so this guy was shooting. I believe both of these 2 guys shot him. But, yeah, there's 2 bullets. 2 bullets, 2 different shots. And, so yeah, that's what, Germans win. Alright. Totally messed up that odd commentary. Need to get better enough. Very close, going to the final round here. Ooh. Ooh la la. My apologies for that. Final round, here we go. I can now sufficiently say that I believe that these two factions are balanced. At least in this scenario. In different scenarios, it might be a bit more unbalanced. Meanwhile, the entire American shotgun car is dead. Except for this one lucky man who has half health. The other four are just gone instantly. I didn't even have a chance to go into slow-mo. I didn't have a chance to zoom in and see them fight. They're just dead instantly. Oh, that was a huge shot. That was clearly a bullet from the machine gun. That hit that poor American infantry. Alright, here we go. German and American infantry going at it again. An American infantryman's dead. Although two of the German infantrymen are holding their guns. So that's not good. The guy who's closest to all the action gets shot up by the rest of the American gang. Rip to that German right there. He was just in the wrong spot. He had a bad position and he was murdered for it. It looks like what I'm calling the last American shotgun is about to die. I should have focused on it. Yeah. The last American shotgun just got shot through the leg, and oh my god, we had a collateral. Yo, that was awesome. Alright. Nice. Epic shot from that German. I don't know who it was, but pretty epic. Epic gamer moment. Meanwhile, the remaining American infantrymen are dying. The German infantrymen are almost dead soon. Two out of three of them are one bullet away from death. Maybe this guy's two if he gets shot in his pinky toe, but I don't know. The last American infantryman on the left is dead now. On the right, they still have infantrymen. It looks like the American right really outperformed the American left in this battle. I'm just saying. The Germans on the left are just pushing forward here. So going at a normal speed for a couple of seconds on the grass. Yep, American left is getting hurt to crisp, and the Germans still have flamethrowers alive. That's how bad they crushed them. You can tell how bad they crushed them by which units are left. Because normally in a close fight, it's just the longest range units, which comes into a sniper battle. But no, the Germans have their officer, at least one flamethrower, two flamethrowers, and their officer are still alive. Ouch. The American left failed miserably. The American right just couldn't carry the left. Unfortunately, the Americans lose 3-2. Very close though. Very close. And so I'm actually gonna make it a separate video, but I'll upload it at like the same time. So I shall now do the Russian versus Japanese ones.